Well, hello. Welcome to this podcast. So, this is your host. If this is your first time tuning in, this is your host. This is Yadita Span. I am a mom to my beautiful daughter. I'm an author of a book entitled Don't Give Up, Acknowledging the Struggle, Celebrating Resilience. I am a motivational speaker. I like to motivate and encourage people. That's a gift. I enjoy doing it, and it comes very easy to me. And I thank God for that. And also, motivational speaker, coach. I'm also a coach. I'm a book coach, so I've helped some people complete their book. I love doing that. That's a lot of fun. It gets to be a lot of fun. Anyway, so I'm here today. I was kind of on my other podcast. If you haven't seen it, I've got three of them. One is Let's Talk About It, a Real Talk with Yadita. We've got Pep Talk with Yadita. And then I also have one that is about epilepsy. So it's epilepsy and special needs. And so if you know someone who has epilepsy, and even if you don't, I really want you to tune in. And why is that? Because when we start to listen to things that we don't always have knowledge about, it helps us to have a better understanding. We can be empathetic, sympathetic, and all of those things. So I'm a caregiver. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of good stuff over there. If you're a teacher, someone in the educational system who may or may not know about epilepsy, I think it's going to be a blessing to you. But why are we here now? So we're here on Pep Talk. I want to share with you. I know we started talking about this book, Don't Give Up. It is on Amazon. We were talking about it before, and I was going through some of the chapters. And so I decided I wanted to come on and read to you today. And what chapter am I going to read from? You know, one of my favorite. I like a lot of them in here, but it's Butterfly Wings, right? This is one of my favorite chapters. Even if you look at the cover of my book, you'll see a bunch of butterflies on there, just different shapes and sizes. The funniest thing is when we started with this, I don't know, this little butterfly, if you have the book on the front, I don't know, like I was like, what kind of butterfly is that? I thought it looked kind of funny, but as I was writing, I don't know if I want to call it a revelation, and I was going through the covers. I had a nice cover. It was kind of like a fuchsia and some other colors, and they were like these, I think they call them fantasy butterflies or something, but they're like, they look almost perfect and really nice and all of that. But I was strongly compelled to use this one. And the reason was, these butterflies on the front of the cover, if you don't have it, you can look on Amazon right now. I'll give you a moment because I want you to understand. Just go with me. Go with me on this one. You look at the cover and you see these butterflies flying in these different directions, and they're these different shapes and colors. And I'm trying to see, I think there's, maybe a few of them that are monarch butterflies and they do look alike, but for the most part, a lot of them don't. One of them, where's that little guy at? He looked like he was flying downward, as a matter of fact, like he's spiraling downward. Yeah, there he is. He's towards the bottom where it says revised edition. And so I was like, why can't I use my really, really nice cover? Well, in life, it's not always like that, where everything is just so quote unquote perfect. I don't think there's perfect things on this earth. God is perfect, but it's just not like that all the time. I know we look for things to be like that, and we look for people to be like that. But if we really, 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 really think about it, we're not perfect beings, right? And sometimes we may look at someone like I looked at this butterfly in the bottom, and we may say, oh, I don't care for that about that person. We may not even care about it about ourselves, right? We may look at ourselves and say, well, I wish that was different about myself. Wish I didn't do that. Wish I didn't think that way. I think that's an area where we need to have more grace for other people and more grace for ourselves. In the areas where we see flaws or things that, we feel ashamed about, or things that we wish that we could change, even about ourselves and even about others. And so I'm going to read to you from chapter 4. It's entitled Butterfly Wings. Little caterpillar, inching slowly along the ground, I wonder if you know, one day you will fly effortlessly, beautifully, carefully, without restriction. Flutter, flutter through the air, no more below or beneath, no longer frowned on, poked at, or looked at in disgust. Go through, little caterpillar. Your process will one day change your name. If you are reading this page, there is a strong possibility you are in the midst of or have experienced a time in your life where you felt like throwing in the towel, forgetting about everything, and just plain old giving up. Truthfully, giving up seems easy when you feel there is no reason to live. During difficult moments, it is hard to stand when your legs keep buckling under the weight of intense pressure you are experiencing day in and day out. I write to you to tell you that you have to make it. You have to breathe. You have to live. And you have to survive. Why? Because. I know. What kind of response is that? Because. Yet, I have a reason for saying this. We can equate the process we deal with to the life of a caterpillar turned to butterfly. Please give me a moment to further explain. You see, I often wondered about the process of caterpillars in comparison to humans. Both start off in one place and transition to another. Both go through stages, and both have to press through obstacles and difficulties in order to survive. To this end, I imagined having a talk with a butterfly who knew a thing or two about life. I imagined myself following the now butterfly, once caterpillar, through a very difficult process, which developed into a miraculous occurrence. The conversation started something like this. Butterfly, I asked, why do you crawl around on the ground, then wrap yourself up until nothing is showing, and then use all of your strength to break through the very thing you created to protect yourself? I imagine the butterfly and I going on a journey far too great for me to understand. As the butterfly looks at me, it does not say a word, and then beckons for me to follow. Suddenly, the butterfly begins to speak. I remember when I was a lone caterpillar, inching slowly across the grass. I inched along, minding my own business, and my only goal in life was to reach my destination. The grass was familiar to me, but as I continued along, I felt my frame encounter a hard substance. The substance was so different from what I was used to, and I wanted to turn back to what was familiar, my soft green grass, but I continued to inch forward anyway. Along the way, I encountered people who called me out my name and said I was yucky, slimy, gross, and even ugly. I wanted to tell them, my name is not yucky. I am not ugly. I was created this way by my maker. But they never bothered to listen and continued ridiculing me, ignoring my very apparent embarrassment. I also encountered people who poked me with sticks and laughed as I writhed in fear. Others lifted me up and dropped me from a distance and chuckled with glee as I plummeted to the ground, squirming in severe pain. I wondered if they knew they were breaking me. I wondered if they wanted to destroy me on purpose because I did not look like them or act like them. But why should I? I wondered if they even cared about the things which were important to me, including my need to live and fulfill my destiny. Maybe there was no reason for their disregard of my feelings or invasion of space, but they cared nothing of my emotions or my opinion. So after enjoying their time of abusing me, they would finally laugh again and leave me to suffer alone. You know, I feel to stop right there for today. What do you think about that? What do you think about this? Here's this caterpillar, created as a caterpillar, called a caterpillar, looks like a caterpillar, minding its own business, and it's used to that soft green grass, and as it continues along, it reaches a hard substance, which is actually the ground. It knows that it's got to get somewhere, and its instinct is telling it, just keep on crawling, just keep on going, just keep on moving, just keep on doing what you're doing. It didn't know what was going to happen. It didn't even really know sometimes where it was going, but along the way, it met some people. And these people looked at the caterpillar, and all of a sudden, they were just like, ew, that's yucky. Ew, that's ugly. Ew, that's slimy. Now it's probably a group of children. And as I stated before in some of my other podcasts, children would take the caterpillars, put them on the stick. The caterpillar would wrap itself around the stick, and then they would shake it, just start shaking it so the caterpillar would come off of there. And that caterpillar was holding on to that stick for dear life. And they continued to shake it until it fell off. When it fell off, I can't say if a caterpillar has feelings. If it was in pain, it probably was. But here it is now in another space. Now it really doesn't know where it is. It was on this path, but now it's somewhere else after it's been called these names by people who don't even know too much about what a caterpillar is or where this caterpillar is going. They just decided, we're just going to pick it up. Doesn't matter that it's going somewhere, that it's on a journey, that it's minding its own business. Let's just do this because this is going to give us momentary pleasure. Have you ever had that happen in your life where you knew you were going somewhere? Maybe you were a strong woman, strong man, in school, maybe, I don't know, maybe on your job, maybe taking care of your children, but you felt pretty good about yourself at that time. I hope you did. And all of a sudden, there was someone who came along who really didn't know that you had plans. Maybe you had written your plans down in your journal and you were just like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Maybe it was you were going to go to school. Maybe you decided you wanted to start a business. I'm not sure, but think about that thing that you said, I'm going to do this. I'm determined. I've got my mind made up, right? You know that song, I got my mind made up. Your mind's made up. And you're like, I've got this. I'm going to do this. And then someone comes along out of nowhere. Maybe it was someone from your past. Maybe it was someone who you just met. Maybe it was someone who you were introduced to. And all of a sudden, your focus and your gaze diverted. It turned away from the things that you were doing for yourself. The things, the plans that you had, the vision. Some of us, we do vision boards. I'm going to share mine with you all one day on my Facebook page, Pep Talk with Yadida, because my daughter and I did a vision board, and a lot of the things that are on that vision board have actually happened. They've actually come to pass. But we looked at that board and we were just like, okay, it'd be nice if these things could happen, and many of them have, but did you have a vision board? And you were like, I'm going to travel the world or whatever it is. And then this person came and you started to take your focus off of the things that you knew you needed to do and wanted to do, and you put it on this person. Now, it's a good thing if you're doing that on a person who knows how to love you, on a person who respects you, on a person who celebrates you. But what happens if it's the opposite? And it's a person who may seem like they love you in the beginning, but as you continue pouring, as you continue taking your mind and your attention off of the things that you need to do and focusing on theirs and pushing their agenda and helping them with things,